E3 is here, and Microsoft put on quite a show. They dropped a lot of bombs on us, and we just want to talk about them. Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on gameranx, the 10 biggest surprises at the Xbox E3 conference. Number 10 is Minecraft Dungeons, which we are particularly happy to see. It seems like something that's basically a perfect extension of what Minecraft is to me, in that a lot of the experiences I first had in the game were of going underground and sort of fighting mobs for resources. Now, this is obviously way more than that. We're talking basically a Diablo-style dungeon crawling hack and slash, and for me that is an absolute perfect idea. The graphics we've seen of it, perfect. It takes Minecraft, it doesn't do too much to change it, however it gives us a lot of nicer effects that we've seen in the sort of outside mainline Minecraft games, and it gives us a full-blown dungeon crawler. Some of the stuff that I saw actually made me legitimately excited. The big open dungeon stuff that reminds me of things I've seen people build before, but never expected to play through in a dungeon crawler. And frankly, the gameplay from what we've seen looks exactly like what we would want out of something like this, and I can't tell you how excited I am for 4-player local co-op on this. Yeah, online co-op is going to be fun, but I want people in my house. This is a perfect party thing, especially if we get any procedurally generated ongoing content. Fingers are crossed, but we'll find out more later. Clearly, Minecraft Dungeons looks awesome. At number 9, we had a number of sort of out of left field announcements that are nonetheless pretty awesome. The first being this Blair Witch game, which actually genuinely looks kind of horrific. The trailer reminded me so much of the original movie, and I'm really happy to see that because nobody's actually really managed to capture that kind of a feel in a video game, and it seems kind of custom made for video games. The Blair Witch was one of those urban legend type movies. They promoted it as a found footage film. Obviously, it's not real, but a lot of people were like, this is real? And of course, a lot of people's expectations were shattered when it was made clear it was not real. But experiencing that hasn't really happened in video games, and it seems ripe for it. We also had the world premiere announcement of the new Microsoft Flight Simulator, which will be an Xbox Game Pass game at launch. You'll be able to play it on both the Xbox One and on PC. And we saw Psychonauts 2, which included the shock announcement of Double Fine being acquired by Microsoft, turning their games into first-party Microsoft titles. Let's go ahead and say this. Microsoft understands why the PS4 has done better, numerically speaking. They really want to bring it in the first-party area, and I commend them for it. Number 8, they announced the Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, which you can join for $1. It's $14.99 a month. With a single subscription, you'll get Xbox Live Gold and Xbox Game Pass on both PC and Xbox. Ultimately, if you combine the costs of all of those things, a pass on PC, a pass on Xbox, and the Xbox Live Gold subscription, you're talking about $30, so it's a pretty big savings. On top of that, the games that are available now on Pass include Arkham Knight, Metro Exodus, Hollow Knight, and the Borderlands Handsome Collection. And games that will be coming to the Game Pass at launch are The Outer Worlds, as well as Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition. Number 7, we got the Xbox Elite Series 2 controller, which, let's go ahead and say, really a great controller. Sometimes our default controllers on our systems, whether it be Xbox, PlayStation 4, or whatever, don't have massive battery life. They've remedied that forever. The Series 2 Pro controller will hold a charge of up to 40 hours, so in case you're wanting to pull a full-time work week of gaming over the next few days, they've got that handled. They'll also be including USB-C support, which is very good. There's going to be new tension thumbsticks that are adjustable, and overhauled paddles. Number 6 is a game called Bleeding Edge from the Hellblade developers. It's kind of a 4 versus 4 third-person melee combat game. It is a sort of Overwatch if it were melee and had a more punk art style. And to be truthful, I actually think that's a good approach. I'm interested in more melee competitive games at the moment. It seems like we've seen a few lately that really prove some potential. Apparently Ninja Theory was actually developing this game before they were acquired by Microsoft, so I mean PlayStation fans I think can kind of lament that if it turns out to be good anyhow. It looks interesting and I think it's going to be cool. We also saw the announcement of Tales of Arise, a new JRPG in the Tales series. which is not going to be an exclusive, but it's the first we've seen of it, and it looks great. Number 5, we got the Gears 5 release date, and a few trailers, and not enough footage of the campaign, if I'm totally honest. We will be seeing Gears 5 on September 10th. Honestly, I think they've done a good job making it compelling. I'm definitely curious for more, but if I'm also totally honest, I'm not super excited for the 3-player co-op escape experience that they advertised. Like, the thing I'm here for is the continuing Gears story. I think Gears 4 kind of served to set up another trilogy, and I'm really kind of excited to see where that goes. So, in a way, it was a bit of a letdown, but at the same time, they did do a good job of hyping the game. So, September's not exactly a long wait, so it did still make me pretty excited, and hopefully we'll see more of it very soon. Coming in at number 4, FromSoftware and George R.R. Martin are teaming up to make a game. This is not a test. We're at full DEFCON 5 here for this one, folks. They're calling it not only the biggest FromSoftware game to date. Now, we absolutely did not get a lot of information about this, but it does look really, really cool. There were a lot of shots in the trailer that were absolutely bathed in red, and we saw a lot of decay portrayed. Now, what Miyazaki and George R.R. Martin come up with together, that's probably going to be really what sells this game, but of course, it's reasonable to assume the gameplay is probably going to be pretty good. We more or less know what to expect from FromSoftware at this point, and obviously the real hook here is that they have George R.R. Martin involved. I have a feeling if he wasn't involved, they wouldn't have been as vague. This was very vague. However, what we did see is really, really cool looking. This sort of high fantasy tradition is maybe a little more apparent here than usual in a FromSoftware title, but it's also distinctly FromSoftware looking. I'm pretty excited about it, although I'm going to reserve a little bit of my judgment on it until we actually get some specifics. That said, what could go wrong, really? Number 3, we heard a lot about Project xCloud, and probably the big surprise out of it was the idea you could use your own Xbox One as a server. Now, I want to go ahead and say that I've seen similar approaches. Nvidia has an in-house streaming thing. It's possible to stream PlayStation in a similar way, and thus far, this isn't something that, shocks me in any way. What shocks me is actually kind of how big they made it seem. So do they have something different, something that maybe works better even, planned for their version of game streaming? The other thing is, as they were talking about it, it's not just that you'll be able to stream games off your Xbox, you'll also be able to stream games from the data server. The actual quote was, whether you're using a console in our data center or your console at home, this October you'll be able to use our hybrid gaming cloud to play your games wherever you go. Where you play is now entirely your choice. Number 2, we saw Cyberpunk 2077, and I think we've seen the best big game for the next couple of years on its way here. At least the best third-party game. Because I just don't know how anybody's going to beat what we saw. It's just such a cool looking environment, game, themes. Honestly, I could easily have watched a movie of what they were showing. I could have just seen it go on and on and on. It was so high stakes feeling and moved along, although it probably didn't feature any actual gameplay. At the same time, the tone that was set and the fact that it was in-engine footage, I'm super impressed, and on top of that, Keanu Reeves. I mean, come on, the way they integrated him into the game, into the announcement, as a big surprise, then had him walk out on the damn stage, it was awesome. I don't know why they blew that surprise so early in the presentation. Honestly, it would have been hard to walk away from the whole thing, with that being the last part of the Microsoft show, and just remember anything that was even vaguely dull. And finally, number 1, the next Xbox was announced. They're calling it Xbox Project Scarlet. We did get a fair amount of jargon, but that's fine. We actually did get some specifics that are useful for us. For instance, they're boasting 120 frames per second frame rates. They're boasting 8K. They're talking about real-time ray tracing, as well as the idea that they're going to use an SSD, not just for storage, but as virtual RAM, as well as loading it up with GDDR6 RAM. And they're claiming a performance boost of 4 times over the Xbox One X. Now for me, that's really, really impressive. But I was less interested in all of the jargon and more interested in Halo Infinite. Now, we did not see gameplay of Halo Infinite, that is important to say, but what we did see was in-engine footage running on what we assume is the new hardware, and let me just go ahead and say it's gorgeous. It is absolutely beautiful. We saw a character with hair and a beard that, as far as I'm concerned, could have easily been pre-rendered, but more importantly, we saw Master Chief, who is looking cool as ever, and we heard Cortana. We didn't see her, but what I think is cool is that we sort of saw a little bit more of like a horror or even scary motif in this sort of little miniature short we saw of Halo Infinite. Our characters were dealing with a sort of unknown, and it was a perfect opportunity for Master Chief to look very, very cool when the other guy said they should run, and he's like, no, we should fight. He obviously knew how to say it much cooler than I do, because he's Master Chief. Honestly, it got me pretty darn hyped. The original Halo had that kind of feel of with the Flood, and we haven't had that kind of a real horror feel for quite a while. I'm interested to see if they actually do follow through on that, but of course, it's gonna be awesome. We've got a few bonus surprises to discuss, just because this was really a packed presentation. There was a ton of stuff we saw, and it was really exciting. First thing I want to mention is there's a new story experience in State of Decay 2, The Heartland. You can actually play that today with a Game Pass. Forza Horizon 4 LEGO Speed Champions expansion comes to bring literally Legos into Forza Horizon. That comes out this week, and it actually looks super fun. Crossfire X, which is an adaptation of a very popular game called Crossfire, which is popular across Asia. It's a game that's been out since 2007 and has frankly taken that part of the world by storm for over a decade. And we're going to be seeing a version of it here. It's going to be hitting the Xbox first. We saw a new LEGO Star Wars game announced, which will be all 9 films of the Skywalker saga in one game. That should be incredibly fun. I love the LEGO Star Wars games. Dragon Ball Project Z became Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, which we know will now focus on Goku and probably give us the story of Dragon Ball Z as a game that looks like the cartoon, perhaps better than the cartoon. Truthfully, it's amazing looking and I can't wait to see this. And my 2 biggest bonus points for you are Phantasy Star Online 2. Let me just go ahead and say, as like a Dreamcast niche player, it's wild to see Phantasy Star Online coming to Xbox One, totally free to play, with crossplay. And let's end on a high note with Battletoads. Oh my god, does Battletoads look great. The animation, the gameplay, what's going on at all times on the screens from the footage we've seen, it looks so good. I can't wait to play it. All in all, the E3 Xbox presentation was awesome. What were you most excited about? What caught your eye? Leave us a comment, let us know what you're thinking. And if you like this video, please click like. If you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week, and the best way to see them first is, of course, a subscription. So click subscribe, and don't forget to click the notification bell. As always, thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter at FalconHero. We'll see you next time, right here on gameranx.